Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were important links in God's decision to establish a nation through which he would bless the world. We have learned that Jacob and Esau were enemies much of their lives. However, there was a time of reconciliation. On the night prior to their meeting, God changed Jacob's name to Israel. One of Jacob's sons was Joseph, and the Bible tells us that Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age. Genesis 37:3. He was also the first son of Jacob's beloved Rachel. This partiality caused tension among the brothers. Joseph also told of his dreams, which were interpreted to mean that his brothers bowed down to him. They were jealous of Joseph, and when they had opportunity, they sold him to a group of merchants on their way to Egypt, and made their father believe that he had been killed by a wild animal. In Egypt, Joseph was sold as a slave to Potiphar, one of the Pharaoh's officials. God was with him, gave him wisdom, and helped him win the respect of Potiphar. 2 years passed, and Pharaoh had a disturbing dream. Potiphar suggested that Joseph had interpreted others' dreams while in prison. Perhaps he could interpret the Pharaoh's dream. Joseph told Pharaoh that his dream meant that there would be 7 years of great abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine, which would ravage the land. He advised Pharaoh to find a wise man to put in charge of collecting a part of the harvest from the 7 years of abundance and storing it for use during the years of famine. Pharaoh was so impressed that he chose Joseph as the wise man to put in charge. The famine was severe in Egypt, but it was also severe in Canaan, Joseph's home. His father, Israel, heard that Egypt had food and decided to send his sons to Egypt to buy from them. Joseph was now the governor in Egypt, in charge of selling grain to those in need. The brothers, however, did not recognize him because many years had passed. Eventually, Joseph revealed himself to the brothers and required them to bring their elderly father to Egypt, which they did. Israel died in Egypt after blessing his 12 sons and Joseph's 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Joseph and a group from Pharaoh's court, along with the other 11 sons, returned to Canaan to bury Israel in the same field that Abraham had bought to bury Sarah. Joseph returned to Egypt, where he died at the age of 110. Prior to death, he blessed his sons and expressed his faith that the descendants of Israel would one day return to Canaan. He was embalmed in the Egyptian tradition. 400 years after Joseph had moved his family to Egypt, a new king came to power who did not know Joseph. Many Israelites occupied Egypt, and the new king was fearful of them and commanded that they become slaves. He also ordered that their male babies be thrown into the Nile River.